Hey guys, welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Kina, and every Saturday and Monday I upload relaxing mukbangs. This is a comfy, cozy type of place where you can kick your shoes off, let your hair down, just get comfortable on your couch, in your bed, whatever, and hang out. Today's Saturday and I'm sharing a true crime case with you, and typically I would eat a dessert, right? You're probably thinking, where's the cake? Your girl's getting a little puffy. I'm puffing out. So I thought, let's have some sushi today. It's bright and refreshing. I'm definitely in the mood for this. This is a dragon roll, and this is a spicy tuna tiger roll. As usual, I'm gonna take a couple of bites, taste the food, chat with you guys for a minute, and then we'll get started in our true crime case. Okay. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, is it cut up? But it is cut up. Oh my gosh. Because I thought I was gonna take it and just eat like a burrito. Don't think I won't. Have you ever had a sushi burrito? Oh my gosh. I've actually made one at home before. They're so good. How are you guys doing today? I hope everybody's having an awesome weekend. Ooh, this one has cream cheese in it. Looks like we have crab, avocado, cucumber. That's pretty much it. We've got spicy mayo and sriracha on top with some sesame seed. Ah, I should just eat it, right? I was not expecting that. Normally I don't pick sushi that has cream cheese in it. This is really, really good. Okay, let me show you this one. It's a much prettier. What am I doing with these? I can't use them. Look at this one. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is so good. All right, let's try this one. This has fried shrimp. Is this one a burrito? This one is a burrito. Not a burrito, but like a whole chunk. So this is when you just like bite into the whole thing. I like that. It's heavy. She's a fat one. Okay, there she is, right? Woo. You guys, I get my sushi from my local grocery store and it's always so fresh tasting and so beautiful. Like, it's just so good. They do a really good job, you know? This is crab on top. Sorry if I didn't tell you that. Let's add a little wasabi. This is so awesome. I'm so happy to be here today. I'm happy you guys are here with me. Man, today we're going to be talking about the case of Charlie Starkweather. Have you heard of him? This guy was just a kiddo. He was a 19-year-old who went on a killing spree and murdered 11 people. This happened in the 1950s, and I am going to link an interview from one of the people in this case in the description below. I highly recommend, if you enjoy this, that you click on it and check it out, because it was really neat to see the actual people and hear their perspective. I love when there are interviews included in cases like this. So you guys, if you love food, if you love true crime, give this video a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Let's get started. So Charlie Starkweather, we're going to just call him Charlie. He was born November 24th, 1938 in Lincoln, Nebraska, and he was the third of 7 children. Back then they had a lot of kids, right? Like that was just the norm. His father was a carpenter who was often unemployed because he suffered from rheumatoid arthritis. And during the time that he was unemployed, Charlie's mother would get a job waitressing to help support the family. Now, Charlie hated school. He had a couple of disabilities that were minor, but he was bow-legged and he had a speech impediment. And man, he had a lot of bullies at school, so he hated it. He hated going, but like many students, he loved gym class. And as he got older and stronger, he became the bully to his bullies. I'll tell you what he did. So Charlie went from a well-behaved teenager to one of the most troubled. I'm going to read to you what one of Charlie's best friends from high school said about him. He says, quote, his friend is named Bob, okay? And he says this about Charlie. He could be the kindest person you've ever seen. He'd do anything for you if he liked you. He was a hell of a lot of fun to be around too. Everything was just one big joke to him. But he had this other side. He could be mean as hell, cruel. If he saw some poor guy on the street who was bigger than he was, better looking or better dressed, he'd try to take that poor bastard down to his size. So he was clearly insecure, to say the least. Insecure, and he just had a lot of anger built up from all the bullying. So this is how it started. In 1956, Charlie was 18 years old, and he was introduced to a 13-year-old girl named Carol Ann Fugate. She was introduced by her older sister, Barbara, who was Charlie's ex-girlfriend. Barbara broke up with Charlie because he became very possessive, she said. Charlie dropped out of high school his senior year, he's 18 years old, right? And started working at a Western Union newspaper warehouse. Now this warehouse was near the junior high where Carol Ann attended, and he would visit her every day after school once his shift was over. That's so weird. Can you imagine an 18-year-old going to a 13-year-old? Like, hey babe, how's it going today? Oh, it's so weird. The whole thing makes me uncomfortable. Oh, you guys. I'm gonna take a huge bite right quick. I'm sorry. I don't mean to pig out, but this is the first thing I've eaten today, and it's just so good. I just want to take one huge bite. Do you ever get like that? I don't know what you guys are snacking on today, but I hope it's as good as this. Man. So Charlie's working at this warehouse, and his boss said that he was a very poor worker. You had to tell him something 2 or 3 times, and sometimes he still wouldn't get it. He said out of all the employees at the warehouse, he was by far the dumbest. That was a bold statement. That's what he said, though. That's not coming from me. But Charlie soon quit his job at the warehouse and he became a garbage collector. He was making minimum wage. He was very depressed. He would spend a lot of his time daydreaming about robbing banks and having money and not living a life in poverty like he was living. But he also felt like there was no meaning to life, that he had no purpose. Well, in 1957, the next year, Charlie is now 19 years old. This is just falling apart. He went to a local convenience store where he was trying to purchase small items with a credit card. But the attendant there refused to sell him anything. So Charlie went back a couple of times the same day, and finally he just got angry. Charlie came back with a shotgun, showed it to, the guy's name is Robert Colvert, and demanded $100 from his till. Robert gave Charlie the money, and then Charlie took him to a deserted area and just shot him in the head. And this started something in Charlie. Like, he went on an 8-day killing spree. 2 months later, Charlie went to Carol Ann's house to pick her up, and Carol Ann was mad at him. She said, I don't want to see you. She told her parents, tell him to go away. I'm mad at him. So the parents were like, get out of here and don't come back to our house. They knew that he wasn't the best influence, and he was much older than their daughter, right? Charlie got mad. So he grabbed his gun and he shot and killed both of Carol Ann's parents. And they had a little toddler who was only 2.5 years old, and he strangled and stabbed her to death. Can you imagine? Like, what kind of sick freaking person could do that? The little girl's name was Betty Jean. Oh, rest in peace, Betty Jean. Oh. He took her family's body and hid it behind their house. Now you're probably thinking, Carol Ann, like, what did she do? Well, apparently, I really don't know if it was that same day or the next day, but he came back to their house, and that's when he shot and killed the parents and Carol Ann's little sister. So apparently Carol Ann wasn't there. And when she came home, she says that Charlie took her hostage and said that if she didn't cooperate with him, that he was going to kill her whole family. So she was assuming that they were still alive. Charlie and Carol Ann stayed in the house for about a week before the grandmother was concerned and sent police over to the house. So Charlie and Carol Ann drove over to a family friend's house, 72-year-old August Meyer. Charlie shot him in the head and then shot his dog. And you're probably thinking again, oh my gosh, what did Carol Ann do? Well, she and Charlie decided to flee the area and ditch the car in some sort of like mud ditch somewhere and started walking down the road. Now, 2 teenagers saw them on the side of the road and decided to stop and see if they needed help. A 16-year-old and I think the boy was 17 or 18 years old. But they were an engaged couple. Guess what Charlie did? Charlie shot the guy and took the girl to a local abandoned, what is it called? Storm shelter. I couldn't think of the word. And Carol Ann is there and he tries to take advantage of her, you know what I mean? The girl fought back. She didn't allow that to happen to her. So Charlie got frustrated and shot her. Now, Charlie says that he didn't shoot her, but that Carol Ann shot her. Carol Ann's saying that she stayed in the car the whole time. She didn't know anything that was going on. I don't know. That's why you can't bite sushi, right? You have to shove the whole thing in your mouth. I was trying to be a little neater for you guys. So after that situation, they drove to another county in a wealthy part of town in Lincoln. They picked out a house, they broke in, Charlie stabbed the maid to death, he killed their dog, and waited for a married couple to come home. The wife came home first by herself, and Charlie admitted to throwing a knife at her, but he says that Carol Ann is the one that like her to death. You know what I mean? That she was a part of this whole thing. Now, mind you, Charlie is 19 at this time and Carol Ann is 14. After the husband returned home, Charlie shot him, and Charlie and Carol Ann took a bunch of stolen jewelry from the home and they filled their black, what was it, a 1956 Packard? What does that look like? Let me see if I can find a picture of that. The 2 of them immediately drove off heading to Wyoming. Now, these murders caused an uproar in the community and authorities went on a house-to-house hunt searching for these perpetrators. Side note, a lot of times people will say like, of course they did something in these rich neighborhoods, but they don't do anything in these other neighborhoods. But I feel like people in the richer neighborhoods, they won't stand for something. They will cause an uproar. They will take action and do things when the smallest incident happens because they want to feel safe and protected in their community. And I think that's the difference. They won't stand for it. The governor at the time, Victor Anderson, even contacted the National Guard. Didn't I tell you? They played no games. And after several sightings of Charlie and Carol Ann, the Lincoln Police Department was heavily ridiculed and criticized and accused of being incompetent for being unable to capture these 2. Okay, so Charlie and Carol Ann are on the run. They are booking it down the highway through Douglas, Wyoming, and they notice a Buick on the side of the highway. They stop and they pull over and they think that they should switch vehicles because of course, police are going to be looking for the stolen vehicle from the rich neighborhood. Inside this Buick, they find a sleeping traveling salesman who was just taking a stop to take a nap right quick. And Charlie wakes him up by putting a gun in his face and ended up shooting him, but he didn't die. His shotgun or rifle, whatever he was using, ended up getting jammed. And Charlie later says that Carol Ann is the one who had to finish him off and that she was the most trigger happy person he's ever met. Really. It's like, which is it? Either she was a hostage or she was playing hostage, right? We're gonna get to that. I'm gonna move this out of the way right quick. So yeah, Carol Ann denies ever killing anybody. She said she was a victim and a hostage throughout this whole experience. Now the two of them get inside the salesman's Buick and they take off down the highway. But the parking brake is on. The parking brake is brand new to Charlie. I don't know when were parking brakes invented? Does anybody know? Alexa, when were parking brakes invented? I don't know, Alexa. I don't even know when. But anyway, if you know when parking brakes were invented, I'm very curious, so let me know down below. But yeah, they're stalling out and a motorist sees they're having trouble, and so he pulls over. Now he's a geologist, a very nice guy. Lots of nice people back then, right? Nowadays you have car trouble, people are just zooming by. But he pulls over and offers his assistance. And Charlie got upset, of course, and he showed the motorist his gun and an altercation ensued. A deputy was on the highway though, saw the altercation and pulled over. Thank goodness, right? As soon as he pulls over, the motorist starts running his way and says, "It's Charlie Starkweather." I almost forgot his name. "He's gonna kill me," and gets away. So he doesn't die. Thank goodness. So at this point, Charlie put the pedal to the metal. I don't know if he figured out the brake or not. I'm sure he did because he starts zooming. 3 cops are after him at this point. They're going 100 miles per hour down the highway. And eventually one of the officers shoots at the car. It shatters the windshield and Charlie gets glass shattered on him and he starts bleeding. And then he pulls over. And he pulls over because he thinks that he's going to bleed to death. There was a quote from the sheriff deputy or whatever that pulled him over. Let me read it to you right quick. It says, "He thought he was bleeding to death. That's the only reason he stopped. That's the kind of yellow son of a beep he is." Quote unquote. So he's caught. Charlie decides to be extradited from Wyoming back to Nebraska because he figured he's murdered all these people and he's going to get the death penalty regardless. Little did he know, the governor of Wyoming at that time opposed the death penalty. So now he's being questioned by the police, and he first says that Carol Ann had nothing to do with any of the murders, any of the chaos and craziness that happened, and that he kidnapped her and forced her to ride along with him. But his story kept changing. It was very inconsistent. Now Carol Ann sticks with her story, saying that she was a hostage the whole time. She didn't know that her family was dead. But Judge Harry Spencer was not buying her hostage story. He believes that she had too many opportunities to escape that she just didn't take. Now Charlie was saying that he knew he was going to die and that he felt like he should die, but he felt like Carol Ann should have to die with him. Great boyfriend, right? Great guy. He was convicted of murder. He was sentenced to death and got the electric chair at the Nebraska State Penitentiary at 12:04 a.m., June 25th, 1959. He's buried in Wyuka Cemetery, where 5 other of his victims are buried as well. Carol Ann was convicted as an accomplice, and she was sentenced in 1958, a year before Charlie was executed, but she was paroled, of course, in 1976 after serving 17.5 to 18 years at the Nebraska Correctional Facility for Women. She then moved to Michigan. She changed her name and got a job as a janitor at a local hospital. Now, she did an interview in 1996 that I highly recommend you guys watch if you enjoyed this story. She and her older sister, Barbara, are in this interview and they talk about the details of what happened. It really was just so interesting to watch. So again, I have that linked in the description below. And this case inspired several films, including The Sadist, Badlands, Natural Born Killers, and then there was Starkweather in 2004. That's Charlie's last name. So yeah, take a look at the interview. You guys tell me after hearing her point of view, her perspective of things, do you think she was an accomplice? You know, it's just hard to say. I hope you guys enjoyed today's true crime. Check me out on Instagram if you'd like. You can check out my second channel if you're interested in my beauty related stuff, my shopping hauls, like things like that. I have all of that linked in every video in the description. I hope you're having a great weekend. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I enjoyed hanging out with you all, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.